Here's an interesting thing with Kyrie's wish list.
Okay.
Lakers, Clippers, Knicks, Miami, Philadelphia, Dallas. I've talked to some people around the league. Woj reported on TV. He said there's not much, if any, interest from Dallas, the Clippers, or Philadelphia. The Knicks, clearly, at best, Kyrie would be a third option for them because they wanted Jaden Ivey as their number one. Now he didn't get him, so now they're going for Jalen Brunson. I guess if they don't get him, maybe they'll turn their attention to Kyrie. And then you got Miami, where I tell you what, Kyrie and Heat culture, that demanding Heat culture, would not mix. I think kind of the only team on this list, his wish list, that really wants him is the Lakers because they're desperate. Do you think these teams should want Kyrie? Keeping in mind that to get him, you likely going to have to give up a lot. If I'm the Nets, I'm not just giving him away for some picks.
Of course.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so what are your thoughts on that?
All right, well, first of all, he ain't coming to L.A. Y'all stop trying to tie every big player to LeBron and the Lakers. Everybody's coming to L.A. Dame Lillard was coming to L.A. Kemba Walker was coming to L.A. Kyle Lowry was coming. Everybody's coming to L.A. Stop. That's not happening because for him to come here, he'd have to take the $30 million. They have to take the $30 million mid-level exception if he opted out.
I tend to agree with you. I mean, obviously that's logical.
Yeah.
But he left $17 million on the and this might be why he wouldn't take it, the pay cut, but he left $17 million on the table this year by not getting vaccinated. He left who knows how many tens of millions of dollars he lost with the Nike endorsement.
Exactly.
So I don't know. Does that mean he'll give up money for principle? No. I agree. I think it'd be ridiculous. But I got to throw this in too quickly. The Lakers, after this season, this upcoming season, when they'd pay him $6 million, they would be able to give him a long-term lucrative deal the next season because they'll have cap room, or other teams that are available out there that'll be better than the ones that have cap room now will be able to pay him. So I'm just throwing that out there.
Yeah, which is good information to know, but we're talking about like what it's going to be right now. Because if that was the case, then the earlier conversation, whether the 5-year, the 3-year, or just taking the 1 year right now, taking $37 million, playing to become a free agent in 2023, that conversation now is null and void. If they have money to pay him big next year for what he wants, then he's not even having a discussion. Let me just go ahead and play right now, trade me. I'll take the $6 million, I'll take the mid-level exception, and then I'll get the big contract. But
no, that's on the table.
Yeah, I don't think it's on the table. I think that's more fluff and just more talk because.
No, I'm not saying he's going to do it, but that is a realistic possibility.
I'm
just saying that I'm just saying it's possible that if he went, I don't think he will, but if he goes to the Lakers for $6 million, he would go thinking next season they're either going to give me the big money over the long term, or other better teams that I'd rather go to will have cap room.
Yeah, but
I'm just saying that's just the landscape.
I get what you're saying. I don't agree with it, and I think it's
agree with what?
I think it's fluff. I don't think it's real. I just think it's a part of the story.
You don't think Kyrie would do it?
No.
Okay, I'm not saying he would. I'm just saying that is a possibility. That would be the only reason he considered the Lakers.
That's all I'm saying. I understand exactly what you're saying, CB. I'm telling you that I don't think that that's a possibility. I think it's part of the story that they have to add in because you have to always add.
So if that's the case, he's got to stay with the Nets then.
Yeah, but I do want to hypothetically talk about it. As you mentioned some of these other teams. I disagree with the whole Heat thing. He won't mess with that culture. In my notes when I was preparing for the show today, when I looked at the Heat, I thought, wow. Out of all these teams you named, the Knicks never do anything right anyway, so he's not going there, okay? And he's not going to Dallas because then Luka would have to, even though it would be cute.
Well, why did he put the Knicks on his list?
Because that's where he would want to go, but the Knicks never do anything right.
You saying they wouldn't want him?
They just wouldn't do it right. They wouldn't know how to do it. They don't do anything right. So they wouldn't even know how to work the deal to get Kyrie to make it make sense for both teams. So that's not happening. The Clippers, I kind of like, but I do believe you'll probably have to give up Mann and probably have to give up Reggie Jackson. Maybe Morris's contract goes. They're not going to give up Kawhi or.
I don't think they want him.
Give up Kawhi or PG. So then I go to the Heat and I look at the Heat and you said, well, he's not going to measure that culture there. I don't agree with that. I think Pat Riley and Spo, who was voted a top 15 coach of all time, could talk to Kyrie. It could get Kyrie on that page. I think Hero's probably got to go. Duncan's probably got to go. You're going to keep Jimmy Buckets. Jimmy Buckets and Bam stays. PJ's a little older. Maybe you try to figure out.
You act like the Nets have nothing to say about it.
Hold up, stop. I'm not acting like anything. I'm giving a hypothetical.
The Nets might say, no, we want Bam.
Well, they're not going to give up Bam.
Okay,
they're not going to give up Bam.
So you're proposing that if they could get
some
him for Tyler Hero,
some first round picks, maybe some bad contracts to come off the books to fix the books for future free agents. It's still Brooklyn. It's still New York.
Bad contracts.
Yeah, some
The Nets gonna take bad contracts back. I'm asking.
Okay, I understand what you're asking me, but what I'm saying is if that would have make the deal work, I'm not saying that's what they're going after. If that was maybe like the last piece to make a deal work, or just that little corner of the piece of paper to make the deal work, okay, yeah. Hey, can we throw in this contract right here too? I'm just speaking hypothetically, but I like the Miami Heat. I like the Miami Heat as a team that if he were to go to one of those teams on the wish list, I think it works there. It's Florida, it's no state tax, a little more loosey-goosey in South Beach down there in Miami, beautiful Miami. I think he would fit there, and I do think Riley, who's legend, and Spoelstra, who was voted, even though I didn't agree with it, but voted a top 15 coach of all time, could sit Kyrie down and have him fit. So I don't think Kyrie's bucking the culture. I don't think he's bucking the culture. He never bucked the culture. What he's done is said, this is my right. This is kind of where I'm at with my head. The whole January thing you mentioned in the last earlier segment, yeah, it was a little blip. It happens. Players do that. Players have done that before. Yeah.
When has it happened before?
Players for major stars.
That a player took off 2 weeks for a national tragedy.
Well, I mean, Dennis Rodman once told Phil Jackson and Jordan he needed a couple of weeks off. And it was like, look, man, you get a weekend or you get 3-4 days or whatever it is. So we've seen superstar type players just need time off. We've seen it before. It's nothing. It's not a.
You brought up Dennis Rodman.
It's not a unicorn.
In the group Kyrie's. I mean, come on, it is unusual, man. First he took a week off just because, and then 2 weeks because January 6th. I like Kyrie. I like his consciousness, all that. But you can't. I'm sorry. We all were disturbed by January 6th. We still have to go to work. My man goes way back. My frat brother. He's a Washington Post Sports Enterprise reporter, Michael Lee. What's up, man?
Hey, not much, man. Just, chilling.
Great to have you on, man. Look, it's a lot of NBA stuff on, so let's get right to it. Kyrie, what do you look at? A lot of this is just him bluffing. Like, he's got his 16 wish list. A lot of those teams I don't even think want him. The Lakers, obviously, he'd have to take a $30 million pay cut to go there. Do you think a lot of this is him bluffing to get the Nets to give him the deal he wants? Or do you think there's a real chance he's signed and traded or even walks to the Lakers?
I think this is the behavior of a narcissistic, selfish individual who has never been held accountable to anything. And so I think this is what's happening. He's shocked that he just wasn't handed a 5-year max and just allowed to just, make his money and, play how he wishes and do what he's been doing the last couple of years. I think it's the first time somebody called him on his mess, and he doesn't know how to handle it. And so this is the response. It's just total. It kind of goes to his professionalism again, or the lack of professionalism that he showed the last couple of years. And I think that it's coming back to him, and he doesn't know how to deal with it. So I think it's a lot of bluff and bluster. He doesn't want to leave. He doesn't want to leave KD. But I think he's trying to test the Nets to see just how far they're willing to go. And he may wind up in a situation that he doesn't want to be in. You remember how he forced his way out of Cleveland, because he thought he wanted to, be out of the wing or out of the shadow of LeBron. And now he winds up in Boston, and then he wound up hating it there. And now he should be happy. And now he's behaving in a way that just isn't becoming of a supposed superstar. The thing that I think that's lost in all this, and what I think a lot of people are kind of losing because they're getting so excited about, maybe if he goes to the Lakers, play with LeBron, or he can go here and play with him, or he can go to the Clippers, and and there's all this stuff going around. I'm like, did y'all watch him in the playoffs? I mean, He was not good. He had a performance in game when we had 39 points. But what do we remember about that performance? Not that that he had scored a lot of points, but he's flipping off fans and just behaving like just a petulant child the whole time in a game that they had to have. He's focused on the fans. He's not focused on trying to win the game. If I'm the Nets, I'm furious about that. Like, we need you to show up and be a pro. You haven't been a pro all year. You haven't done anything and made any sacrifices for the benefit of this team the whole year, and you should be ready when it's this time. But no, you didn't treat the regular season as if it had any value to you. Your body wasn't ready. You couldn't perform. You got 39 points in the first game. You got 46 points in the last 3. We
Ladies
need more
and gentlemen,
of that.
that is the very definition of keeping it real. Man, you didn't miss words, brother. Good job. All right, VeeJay, go ahead.
Michael Lee, what's up? VeeJay Huskey, man. Nice to be talking to somebody from the Post. I grew up in Woodbridge, Virginia, so I grew up reading Kornheiser and Wilbon every single day, man. So it's pretty cool to be speaking to somebody from the paper. I read the sports page every day. So let's flip this. I've been defending Kyrie, and I'm going to stay on that side. And I really heard where you just came from, so I'm gonna let you stay over there. So I'll take it from this angle. I'm gonna take it from the front office. Plain and simple, CB says you keeping it real, so keep it real me. If you're the Brooklyn Nets front office talking to KD or whatever the case is, what do you do from this point moving forward?
I call Kyrie's bluff because we've put up with a lot of nonsense from the time he's been there. We had a really good coach, Kenny Atkinson. We fired him because of you. You said you don't need a coach. Now he's winning the championship with the Golden State Warriors. So what are we going to do about that? We had a all-star center just kind of sitting on the sidelines. You didn't want him here. We had to trade him so your boy could play, so he could start. Now he's in Cleveland making the all-star team. We don't have an all-star center, and now we don't have your boy. We gave you Steve Nash. We gave you everything you wanted. We gave you all that you asked for. We let you play in on-road games after all of that because we just said, you know what, we need you. We need your talent. We broke down. We shouldn't have done it, but we did it because we bowed to you because we knew we respected your talent and thought that we'd be rewarded for it. And when it came down to it, you didn't show up. We invested all this money in you. You didn't go to the bubble with us. I mean, I guess you were hurt, so I will forgive you on that. You got hurt in the playoffs last year when we had a good chance to win the championship. But not only did we lose our Jared Allen, we lost our coach. We had to trade James Harden. We had a top 75 player on this team who just said he couldn't be around you because you didn't want to get a shot. You didn't want to make the sacrifices necessary to win a championship because you're on whatever kick you are because you're smarter than everybody else. And now we wind up getting swept in the first round. So what are we supposed to do? We're supposed to reward you with 5 more years and more money after that? We're going to empower you even more? Like, if I'm the Brooklyn Nets, I call this bluff. If you want to leave, leave. We'll deal with the consequences because what our investment has shown for us for the last 3 years is 1 playoff series win. And we've put a lot of money into this unit. And we don't want to lose KD. We want KD here. And we know you want to be here because you've brought KD here. You don't want to leave this behind. We know you don't. But if at some point we got to hold you accountable. We didn't do it at any point for your entire tenure. And we've suffered because of it. So you got to give us something back. You got to give us a commitment that you're going to be serious about playing basketball. You got to give us a commitment that you're going to be committed to showing up and playing regular season games so that you can be ready for the postseason. The reason why the Celtics beat us is because they went through the grind of an 82-game season. They hit the lows, they hit the highs, and they were strong by the time they got to the playoffs, and they trusted each other, and they could go out there and perform. We didn't know who we were going to get in the playoffs because we didn't know who you were throughout the course of the season. You were a part-time player. You were around half the time. We didn't know if we could depend on you at all. And then when we needed you to show up in the playoffs, we got all these, mandates. They've been cleared. You got the freedom to play home games. We got a chance, and now we're in the playoffs, and we're a 7 seed playing on the road, a championship team with a 7 seed. And you are sitting there saying, you want a max now? We know what KD did. This man came back from a ruptured Achilles and became back All-NBA, MVP, best player in the game status level. He came back and performed at that level. You got good numbers, but how are we relying on you for wins? When it came time to step up and show up, you were gone. So we calling your bluff.
Does that answer your question, VeeJay?
Look, I was going to say, mic drop.
Right, mic drop. Michael Lee. Look, it was short and sweet, Mike, but you did your thing, bro. You did your thing. So
I'm gonna
we
go follow him on
appreciate the
Twitter
time
now.
and the knowledge. That's our man, Michael Lee, Washington Post Sports Enterprise reporter. Great stuff as always, brother. Thank you.
Hey, thanks for having me on, man. I could go off on Kyrie all day. As you
I
can
can tell.
I can tell.
The brother upsets me because he knows it can be better. He knows it can be better.
I thought he owed you money.
I know. When you expect adult behavior from adults and you don't get this how you get. I feel you. I totally feel it. All right.